The Who and How Club is sponsored by BetterHelp. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in this world who is going through a hard time, therapy can give you tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Now, folks, I've taken therapy myself. I've been in therapy. I've had 2 therapists. I've been in therapy for the past couple years. I've taken a little break, but my first experience with therapy has occurred within the past 2 years. And like I said, I had 2 therapists. And that experience in itself helped me really gain some perspective on my life, my past, my present. And, in preparation for the future, I was provided with many tools and many eye-openers, let's say, when it comes to, dealing with life's challenges, whether emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, all of that. Therapy really helped. And I want to share with all of you that, BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online and it's remote. And by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link in our description. If you look at our description, you'll see betterhelp.com/whohow. That's betterhelp.com/whohow, as in the Who and How Club. So WHOHOW. Once again, that's betterhelp.com/whohow. Click the link in our description. Clicking that link helps support this channel, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating sometimes, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, like I said, I changed my therapist after I was finished with my first one. I sought out a male therapist to get sort of like a different vibe, different energy, different approach. So with that said, you can easily switch to a therapist for free without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything, like that, so to speak. It's really, BetterHelp makes this process very, very, very easy. So I definitely recommend therapy, especially if it's your first time and you've been kind of afraid of doing this and you don't know how to approach it. BetterHelp is the best place to start. So if you're struggling, just consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/whohow. Once again, that's betterhelp.com/whohow. BetterHelp is the show's sponsor. They've been sponsoring us for a while now. We're truly grateful. BetterHelp is really in line with the show's mission and what we represent here on this platform. So sign up for therapy with BetterHelp today and start your therapy or your journey to therapy like I have. I share my journey to therapy on Instagram as well. So you could follow my journey and get inspired if you're looking to, get a little push. You can view my experience in therapy on my platform as well. So I've pretty much explained a lot of my experience with therapy in many episodes. So go listen back, sign up for BetterHelp today, and start your journey. All right, let's start the show. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Arys Déjan checking in once again. The slogan, you are the Who and How Club. I am the Who and How Club, and we are the who's and how's of this world. Without you, without me, there is no we. So while we're here, we should, make the best of our time while we're here. It's early morning for me right now. It's 6:15, but I've been up since 5 a.m. on the dot. That is pretty much my routine. And I've spoken about being an early bird because I truly believe in the saying, the early bird gets the worm, the early dog gets the bird. You know what I mean? Now, when I don't wake up early in the morning, I feel raggedy, I feel disheveled, I feel everything just gets thrown off when I don't wake up early. But when I wake up early, doesn't matter how late I go to bed, when I wake up early, I feel vibrant, I feel alive, I feel like I could conquer the world and take over and do all the things that I have planned in my life. Because I do believe that utilizing your day in the most beneficial way would benefit us as just like not as a humanity, but even on the individual scale. There's the macro scale and the micro scale, you know what I mean? We only have 24 hours in a day, apparently, based on this structure that we're all under. So let's use our time wisely. Now, when you wake up at like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m., majority of your day is already gone. You've wasted the morning, and the morning is when our bodies know that it's time to go to work. It's time to put in that work. It's time to, do things. Wake up in the morning, take a knee, thank the universe, thank whoever, have a fruit. That'll get the juices flowing, of course. You'll feel like you got something in your system. For me, I always start with a cup of tea. I'm not a coffee guy, but I'll have tea. And I have a bunch of different teas, whether it's like rose hip tea, dandelion leaf. I got needle seed tea. I got my detox teas. Of course, my favorite is peppermint and chamomile. But I'll rotate between sort of like the herbal teas and just the real unique teas that I love to open my cupboard and see every morning. And I'm happy that I indulge in like these different kinds of teas, and I'll mix it with my sea moss, which is what I'm sipping on today. So let me check if it's still scorching hot. Hold on. Yep. Really hot, so I can't enjoy it as much yet, but that gives me time to speak with all of you and to check in. Usually when we check in, it's sort of like a highlight, low light of your day or your week, but today's check-in is really me just rechecking in. If you think about it, some time has passed since our last episode, and if I could only begin to tell you what I've been going through in life, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, I don't think you'd believe it, but we're still pushing, we're still going, and no matter the time that passes between episodes, the episodes are coming out regardless of anything. Just know that I'm plotting and planning behind the scenes on new things and new ideas to bring you some quality conversations. It's not even about content. Like, I look at this as art. I'm a creator. I pray that you all embrace your creativity as well and look at yourself as creators, whether you're flipping burgers at the local fast food spot, or you're sitting in corporate in your high office in the ivory tower up there. It's all an art. We were created, we were designed. So everything that we do is a design as well. Everything that we pursue is creativity. It has some creativity aspects to it, and we have to view it as such. And you never stop being a creator, no matter how much time passes. It's up to us to choose how we view ourselves and to look at what we do as creativity, so that you don't get so hard on yourself when maybe some time passes. When you're like, oh man, I didn't create today, and a week has passed, maybe 2 weeks have passed, and you didn't create something, you didn't bring your idea to life, but still, you get back to it when the time comes back around, when you're fully inspired, when you've caught up on rest, when you've gotten some other things completed and done off of your task list, let's say. You always come back to creativity, and you always come back to your baby. And that's what the Who and How Club represents. It's my baby. It's your baby as well. This is a safe space for us to come and just communicate with one another and pick each other's brains, while we're still here on this planet Earth. We share this common thing called life. Let's explore it together and have a conversation. Now, I can't remember if I shared this piece with all of you in the last time we spoke, but one major challenge that I experienced is I had a break-in. In my car, and a lot of my materials that I create with got stolen, and that sort of put a dent in my inspiration in creating, and it's been hard to jump back ever since. But even though I took a break from expressing myself and sharing my voice with all of you, I've been planning some things behind the scenes as well. So, things will happen to us that we don't expect. We'll ask why me? We'll cry a little. We'll feel down on our luck. We'll feel depleted and defeated, like, hey, I've been doing everything right. Why is this happening to me? But it's all for a bigger purpose, That experience made me understand and helped me understand and accept that, things are material. Material things are not as important as we make them out to be. And I had to accept that. But we're gonna do a whole episode on explaining the emotional roller coaster that I felt, because now I'm able to tap in and really reflect. I've done some reflection. I've done some accepting and forgiving, and just looking at it as a wild scenario, a wild situation that doesn't happen every day. I've never been robbed or stolen from or anything like that in my life. So it was a new experience for me. I felt a bit naked, but we'll touch on that. We'll speak more in depth. I'd love to hear from all of you if ever you've had something stolen from you, or if you've been robbed, or someone has just taken something from you. I'd love to know how you have felt. So share that experience with me at whowclub@gmail.com or at whowclub on all social media sites. Share your story, and I'll share that. I'd love to, share that experience and speak to it on the next episode that I share in regards to this, okay? Now, if you're new to the channel, just to teach a little structure, we have like a 3-episode cycle. So this is sort of like the solo episode. This is me speaking with all of you, checking in, so to speak, sharing pieces of myself, doing my best to inspire all of you and to motivate you and to remind you of a few things, The next episode is going to be a guest-related episode. So it's when I invite a guest onto the platform, onto the Who and How Club, having an in-depth conversation about that individual, learning about who they are, how they became the Who's that they are today. If they're creators, they view themselves as such. If they have a product they'd like to promote, we touch on that as well. But it's really about going in depth with who these people are and how they became the Who's that they are. Hence the name of the club, the Who and How Club. Members only. Yes, we are pretty exclusive over here, but we're inclusive at the same time. Now the third episode in the cycle, we call that guest spots. So these episodes focus on the shows and the platforms that I have made appearances on as a guest myself, because I want all of you to get to know me as well. I could sit here and speak, look at the wall, and just, have a conversation with myself, although indirectly I'm having a conversation with all of you, because I know you're tuning in and listening on a weekly basis. But I want you all to get to know the other platforms that I've collaborated with, but also have made appearances on, so that you can hear sort of like the table flip, right? It's them asking me questions now and interviewing me on their platform. So it's a different perspective, it's a different vibe, and I get to share pieces of myself. So my audience, you folks, the club members, get to know who your host is. on a more in-depth level from a different perspective, someone else, being intrigued by me and wanting to ask me questions about who I am, what I do, how I became who I am, and diving deep into some really unique topics. So shout out to all the individuals I've already made appearances on their shows and on their platforms. Go to our website, whowclub.com, under the collaborator section, and you'll be able to view all the shows that I've made appearances on and people and platforms I've collaborated with. So shout out to all of them. Shout out to all of you continuing to tune in and vibe out with me and Apollo. Usually you'll hear Apollo, my dog, my Basenji, in the background. We just came back in from doing a little early morning walk, and he's relaxing right now. We came back from a dog show recently, and we're going to talk about that soon. Yeah. And, we're just truly grateful for everything that the universe has provided us with. And to all of you who continue to support the Who and How Club, I am eternally grateful. We're going to get this vibe rolling again and get back into the swing of things. Just a little sidebar. Tom Segura, he released his new Netflix special this week, so I'm really excited to indulge in some stand-up. I feel like stand-up's been there's been a bit of a lull lately, especially from the mainstream guys, but Tom is one of those guys that, I actually started watching it last night. I didn't finish it. I fell asleep to it. Not because he was boring, but it was just time to go to bed. But after so many years, like, he's still able to have that thing that he has. He hasn't lost a step. He hasn't missed a step based on what I saw so far. So he's lost a lot of weight. He looks healthy, and I'm excited to indulge. I'm dabbling into the stand-up comedy stuff. I'm writing some routines, so I'm excited to share some pieces of that with all of you soon. But, Tom is someone that I look up to. Dave Chappelle is someone that I look up to. Bill Burr. There are a lot of, Aries Spears, Andy Steinberg, Dave Attell, like these guys, of course, the Seinfelds and the Chris Rocks of the world. These people I grew up on, so I really look up to them. I look up to Mark Maron. They're the reason, one of the reasons why, a few of the reasons why I even started a podcast, because I started indulging in the comedic podcasts, the comedy shows. The comedians who had shows, and I was just shocked. I was in awe at how they don't turn off. They're just naturally funny, and I admire them for how they present themselves and who they are, and the Bobby Lees of the world, and even the stand-up, not the stand-up comedians, but the late night shows, that I grew up with, the Conans, the Jay Lenos, the Lettermans. Like, these are my idols. So, I do my best to emulate them in any way, shape, or form. But they inspire me to do what I do and to continue what I do, to do what I do. So, find someone to emulate. It's not a bad thing to look up to someone who has already made it and who has laid a blueprint for you to follow. All right? But I just wanted to share my idols with all of you. Find some people to look up to as well, and to emulate and to admire from afar, and use their blueprint. Get inspired and create your own sort of blueprint around that. I look up to the folks like the Dame Dashes, the Biggs, Burks, or Burkses, the Jay-Z's. Those are my artistic creators that I really care about and look up to and do my best to emulate. So with that said, enjoy your week. This has been the check-in, and we will check in a week. Stay tuned for some major updates on what's going on with the Who and How Club. It's been a year, but we got a lot of year to go, so I'm sure there will be more unique things happening that I'll be able to speak with all of you for, whatever. And yeah, if it sounds like I got the sniffles, I do. It's like a little summer cold, so bear with me. But I love you all. Thank you for touching base. Thank you for listening. And I'll speak with you in a week. All right? One.